Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to show you our Limelight Hydrangea Tree, which became top heavy during a tropical storm and went from this gorgeous looking tree to this. I'm going to show you why it happens, how to fix it, and also steps you can take to prevent it from happening in the future or in the first place. In addition, I'm going to show you a brief little helpful tip that I learned after the tropical storm that might help your plants if they get a little bit of salt on them, which is really a bizarre thing that happens sometimes from tropical storms that come off the ocean, even if you're not necessarily right on the coast. So let's get started. So let's talk about why it happens. Here's a panicle hydrangea, which is looking beautiful. I'm filming this in September, by the way, so you see a little bit of the brown and pink happening, which is what usually happens in the fall, although you also see some beautiful lime color under here. And then you even see a new blossom starting right there, which is great. This tree just keeps on giving and giving. So this is a panicle flower head. It's conical in shape. It's wider at the base than it is at the end. In the summer, when these are growing full bore, they can be at least 10 inches or more in length. They can be pretty wide. Some of ours were 8 inches wide at the base, nearest to the stem. And as you can see, for example, this is a nice healthy one. It's probably a little smaller than that, than 10 inches. But you see that the branch kind of, bends a little bit. So now imagine these blossoms waterlogged with rain, weighed down a lot more, pulling on the branch, pulling on the whole tree. And imagine a tropical storm that has high hurricane force winds almost, or tropical storm force winds. And that's what made our tree just go kaput. In fact, I'm going to show you some pictures now of what we came outside and saw in our backyard the day after the storm. Here we have what we first saw, which is beautiful, but sad. You could tell it was broken. And then we walked around a little more and we saw it got much worse. So after almost crying, I got busy and we pruned it, and we did what I call an emergency pruning. And I'm going to talk about what that is. So why it happens is, in a nutshell, is these blossoms, though they're strong, these stems, though they are strong, with the combined weight of rain and heavy winds, that's what can really make the tree just kind of not handle it so well sometimes. It doesn't happen often. In fact, this was the first time it happened to us. But we'll show you how to fix it. And by the way, the storm was so bad that we even lost a big tree behind our fence, part of the natural woods here. And that's what this wood pile is over here. We had quite a cleanup on our hands. Back to the tree. How to fix it. So for an emergency pruning, it's a little different than a full pruning that you would do in the late winter, early spring, which is when the preferred time is to prune a Limelight Hydrangea tree. Some people may tell you it's okay in the fall, but honestly, it's really a lot better to do it in the spring. That way you can actually see which branches survived the winter if you had any winter dieback. So let's look at this branch, for example. Let's pretend that this long branch, see this long panicle here? And see the stem goes all the way in and goes all the way down. So it's a pretty long stem. So let's say that this one needs to be cut back, part of your emergency pruning. You'll notice that there's some leaf nodes here. Let me get up here. And then there's also some leaf nodes right here, leaf nodes here. They're kind of hard to see, but if you take a good look at your tree, you'll definitely get used to seeing what they look like and knowing what they look like. And this is where new leaves and stems come out of. It's as simple as cutting just above whatever set of leaf nodes you want to cut above. So for example, you could take your pruners or loppers and cut right here, and then you'll have new growth come out of this area here. If you wanted to take it back further, you could cut it here, same thing. So for an emergency pruning, it's really get the broken branches off, no matter how painful, because you're going to lose so many gorgeous blooms. And then cut off any other dieback and things like that. Prior to the tropical storm, our tree was about 10.5 feet tall. It was about 8 feet wide. My husband and I estimated that it was about, or it is about, I should say, 6.5 feet right now. So we took quite a bit off. You can see there's still a branch sticking up. There's still a branch back there. That one I'll probably cut down in the spring, or cut it back rather. So an emergency pruning is just that. You're trying to get rid of the broken growth, preserve as much of the tree as you can. Don't worry too much about shape or anything like that. That comes in the late winter, early spring. How do you know if your emergency pruning works? Well, you get stuff like this. You get a new blossom right here that's peeking out. Isn't that cute? You get a little guy up here. There's a little guy. So we had a lot of new growth as well. All of this is brand new growth since the tropical storm happened. So that's not bad. You'll notice back here, the back of the tree, so what I call the back of the tree because it's away from the house, the back of the tree looks awful. It was actually pretty lopsided before the storm happened, and in fact I'm going to show you a picture now so you can see what it looked like. And of course I didn't think too much of it because I thought, well, you know, no one sees the back, so that's okay. My mistake was that then all of these branches ended up just leaning forward. And that is also why the tree ended up breaking in so many places, is it just was top heavy and also lopsided. So how do you prevent this from happening in the first place? What you want to do is a really good pruning in the late winter or early spring. That's going to be your best time to really get a handle on the tree. Oh, look at that. There's a new blossom. Oh, this is so great. It makes me so happy because you can't imagine how gorgeous, well, you can from the pictures, how gorgeous this tree was. Oh, and then it was like a showpiece. So there's two ways that right now you, the viewer, can learn about pruning in order to do it the right way. One is you can subscribe to my channel, and this isn't a gimmick. I do plan in the late winter, early spring, I'm going to do a full demonstration on how I'm going to prune this exact tree. So you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, and you'll be notified exactly when this comes out. And again, it'll be late winter, early spring. I'm thinking March, perhaps. It depends what kind of winter we have. Because when the new growth starts, that's when I usually like to just get out there, and right when I first start seeing some buds, and I'll explain all that. The second way, if you don't want to wait that long, is you can go over to my blog, Pet Scribbles, and I'll put a link in the description below this video. And that's going to show you, it's a complete guide I have on there. I'll put a link to it. And it's not only pruning, but also the care of your Limelight Hydrangea tree. And the pruning has step-by-step pictures. It's going to show you exactly what to do, how to tell, for example, this branch might be more of a weak branch that you don't want to keep, but you see I cut this one back. Maybe these ones are going to grow more. You know, it teaches you what is good, what is bad. So you go over there to petscribbles.com and you can see my pruning guide. That's hard to say, pruning guide. I'll tell you what else is hard to say, is tropical storm isaias. And I hope I'm saying it right, but if I'm not, I don't care, because I tried to say it so many times. I swore I wasn't going to say it on the video, but now I can't resist, because I just got done saying pruning. So anyway, there you have it. So one last step I'm going to talk about, and that's some tropical storm damage you might not be familiar with. I wasn't familiar with myself. So after we had the tropical storm, we had leaves like this. Now this isn't from the fall. This is just from the tropical storm that we had in early August. You see the edges of these leaves? We still have a few of them where the edges just got completely crisp and dry. And this hit early August. See all this? I didn't know what it was from, and in fact this affected us way more in our front yard. There's also a video here on this channel. I can put that link as well in the description below, that shows you the tropical storm damage we had in the front of our house with our river birches and our little lime hydrangeas. And it was damaged like this. You see these just brown edges. I didn't know what the heck happened. And in fact, it wasn't just our ornamental trees. These trees behind our fence here, this is just a little natural forest, and those all got brown too immediately, and again with the edges. So here's what it ends up being. We're in southern New Jersey along the coast, but we're not on the coast. But apparently this tropical storm brought salt water with it, and there was, although there was a lot of rain, there was actually a lot of wind with a lot of salt water, and it just fried the plants. And that's exactly what happened here. I had a blogger friend tell me, who lives in the Carolinas, that whenever they get a tropical storm, the first thing they do is they go out and they hose down all their ornamental trees and shrubs and flowers, because they know they're going to get fried with the salt. So I learned something new. And I also learned this because a lot of people posted on Twitter to the National Weather Service saying, what in the world is happening to my trees and shrubs? And I was one of those people. So that's what happens. So the tip is, if you get a tropical storm, your best bet before waiting to see if you get salt damage is just to go out, give a little hose down, a little extra shower, so to speak. And then hopefully everything will be good. As you see, this tree bounced back nicely, so we're all good. I gotta tell you, I love seeing little things like this. This makes my heart sing right here. So that's what happened with our hydrangea tree. Let me step back so you can get a better look at it. It's kind of sadder, but you know, that's okay. And all this empty space in the garden here, I just removed a bunch of other shrubs that just kind of took a beating during the tropical storm. They were endless summer hydrangeas. Well, I think they were. Actually, I'm not sure what they were, because that's another story. The landscaper that had given them to us didn't really label them properly. So we had some smaller dwarf hydrangeas here too, and they just all got decimated, and I decided I'm starting fresh. So we planted a little, that's a dwarf burning bush back there, and I think I'm going to add some really fun things in the springtime, and that'll be a whole nother video because I've got a lot of space to play with now. So until next time, I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.